God is my perfect gift, through him I give. God is my perfect light, through him I see. God is my perfect voice, he speaks through me.
Good morning, and welcome to the Temple of Light Center for Spiritual Living here in Kingston, Jamaica. We are so happy to have you here with us this morning. It's a little bit rainy. We've gone through a storm, but we're here, and we are very happy that you have joined us this morning. Please join me in an opening affirmative prayer. In this moment, we recognize that there is one power, one perfecting presence which we call God. And in this recognition, we know that right where we are, all of God is fully present and fully active. We know also that the light that is God now shines through us to illuminate the pathway for ourselves and for others as we move forward towards our greater unfoldment and recognition of our divine selves. I give thanks for this knowing, and I know for this morning's service, which is an already perfect idea in the mind of God, that every speaker, every participant, everyone who hears the words that are spoken is uplifted and inspired and knows without a doubt God is, I am, and all is perfectly well. This is the truth about us. This is the truth about every being on this planet. So I release these words now into that infinite law, knowing that it is already so, and so it is. I have an inspirational reading for you this morning, which is taken from the Creative Thought magazine. It is dated August the 14th. The epigraph is from Eric Butterworth from The Universe is Calling, and it reads, "Within you right now and all the time, there is a transcendent power. It is important to take time frequently to be still and get centered at the still point within." The treatment is from Audrey May Colwell, a religious science practitioner from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. I am centered at the still point. The I am that I am is always present where I stand. God in me, as me, is me. It constantly, consistently, and lovingly pours itself into all there is. I bring my conscious awareness to the still point within and know I am one with the One. This awareness fills me with a deep sense of peace and tranquility. I am in harmony with the perfect pattern of the universe, in tune with the transcendent power within. I recognize the limitless energy of the universe, that which is love, peace, joy, and all good. I live life from the inside out, for I know I am the heaven I seek. As a reflection of Spirit's perfection, I live, move, and have my being in concert with all its creations. I live fully and completely in the present moment, the only moment there is. With a grateful, loving, and faith-filled heart, I release my word, knowing my reality is created as I believe. And so it is. And now we'll have our praise song, I Am the Radiant Light of God.
happiness, might of God, the wonder, wisdom, and life of God. I am, I am, I am. I am the radiant wealth of God. I am, I am, I am. I am the radiant wealth of God. I am, I am, I am. I am the wealth of God expressed. I am the wealth of giving itself. I am the radiant wealth of God. I am, I am, I am.
And now we'll have our prayer of our center. Together, the Temple of Light Center for Spiritual Living is a sacred field embodying our spiritual community from which the Christ peace, love, and joy emanate, to touch, to heal, to bless, to prosper, and to liberate anyone who comes into contact with it in any way. The light of the Christ illumines us, our center, and our environment. Our spiritual community is filled with and surrounded by the presence of God and is growing from strength to strength. The power of God expands our consciousness of truth, guiding us ceaselessly along the paths of wisdom, spiritual growth, unfoldment, and attainment. We are blessed, and to God be the honor and the glory forever. And so it is. And now please join me as I light the candle for the youth of the world. I light this candle for all the youth of the world and for all those who are young at heart. We love you. We appreciate you. We salute the Christ in you, and we see you as shining lights unto your world. God is blessing you now, and so it is. And time for our mission song. Lively up yourself.
The temple of light, the temple of light, the temple of light. We are a people with a vision, one in spirit on a mission, to touch, to heal, to bless, to prosper, to love and to liberate anyone who comes into contact with us, anytime, night or day. The temple of light, the temple of light, the temple of light. We are a people with a vision, one in spirit on a mission, to touch, to heal, to bless, to prosper, to love and to liberate anyone who comes into contact with us, anytime, night or day.
Yay! Thank you. You've come alive now, right? So now it's time for our announcements for today, Sunday, August the 22nd, 2021. Do we have anyone who is visiting with us for the first time today online? If you are here, this is a very special morning. I'd like to welcome you to our hearts and to our beautiful Temple of Light Center for Spiritual Living. We trust you will come again and again to share your consciousness with us. And if you are here for the first time online, just give us a thumbs up to let us know you're here. Welcome. We are still streaming live every Sunday at 9 a.m. and on Tuesdays also at 6 p.m. This recording is also available later on YouTube. The schedule for our temple activities is posted online on the Temple of Light Facebook page. Please check it out. Now, all of this year, we're celebrating our 40th anniversary. Remember, Temple of Light has been around for 40 years. Part of our celebration this weekend, Friday, August the 27th, we'll be having a 40th anniversary takeout luncheon. Details of the menu, cost, and how to order have been sent in a flyer and posted to our Temple Facebook page. The caterer is Great House Caterers with our beloved Theo Smith. Remember to share this with your friends and family and join us in our celebration of 40 years. That's big. We're growing up now, we're big people now. Join Reverend John Scott for Quiet Moments in the Garden on Monday mornings, every Monday morning at 6 a.m. This is a refreshing and insightful early morning pick-me-up for the beginning of the week. If you feel moved to support our ministry, kindly visit our donate page at donate.templeoflightcsl.org, and this has all our banking details. Thank you for your generosity and for helping us to be a beacon of light in the world. We continue to respond with prayer to the challenges of this special time. A practitioner is available to pray with you immediately following our service every Sunday. On duty this Sunday is practitioner Vance Gardner, and the number to call is 876-289-0907. You may also speak with a minister from Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to midnight. And to call this number, same number, 876-289-0907. So this concludes our announcements. Now please join us in singing our first hymn, Why? It's found on the screen.
Why be filled without thy worry? Why be filled with all thy doubt? Why should we go hurry-scurry and in circles race about? God within shall ever guide us and forever holds the key. Why should we let darkness hide us when the light will set us free? Why be filled with indecision? Why be tied up in a knot? Why not seek the inner vision that's revealed in quiet thought? As His truth and love beside us, making purpose clear and strong, varied ways shall not divide us, and our heart will sing a song. May good cheer now fill thy being, and the joy of life be thine. May direction overseeing find the power of God divine. With assurance now behold it, as our voice in song we raise, and perceiving now enfold it, and be filled with love and praise.
Now, that's one of my favorite songs. Why should we be filled with doubt and worry, indeed, when we know that God is all there is? And in that consciousness, please help me to welcome our speaker this morning, practitioner Jennifer Livingstone.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you for that warm welcome. Good morning, friends. Let me also add my own words of welcome to all of you for this morning's service and very especially to those of you who may be joining us for the first time online. As always, it is truly an honor to share with you from the podium on a Sunday morning in whatever capacity I'm assigned to do. And I'd also like to just extend my appreciation to Carol again for setting the stage for this morning's service. Thank you, Carol. Now, friends, August is a special month as we observed Emancipation Day at the start when Reverend Ann Shand, our assistant minister here at the temple, gave an inspiring talk on freedom. And one of the things she said was, and I quote, "Our freedom lies in our inner awareness of who we are and what we are part of," end quote. Right after Emancipation Day, we celebrated Jamaica's 59th year of independence, marking how far we have come as a nation. And during this period, we saw the conclusion of the staging of the 32nd Olympiad in Tokyo, and what an Olympics that was. We will talk some more about that later. But August is also particularly special for me as I celebrated my birthday 4 days ago. And it was an opportunity, time for me to reflect on life, looking back on my experiences, and all of which have brought me to this point and have made me who I am. This morning, I would like to spend some time examining this matter of our inner awareness, that which we refer to as consciousness. And for myself, I can boldly declare that truly life is consciousness. This is also the title of my talk, and it is the title of a book by Emmett Fox, Irish New Thought, spiritual leader from the early 20th century, and it is based on a lecture he had given to the Unity School of Christianity in 1936. And I want to begin with a quote from that lecture which states, "The explanation of all your problems, the explanation of your difficulties, and the explanation of your triumph in life boils down to this. Life is a state of consciousness. That is the beginning and the end," end quote. Now, how did I come to this declaration for myself? As I looked back on some of my experiences, I can recall in particular a trip I had taken a few years back, having gone to a company convention in Spain and decided to stay over a few extra days to visit Italy. I knew no one in Italy. I was traveling by myself, and yet I had the most fantastic time and met the most wonderful people for whom English is not their first language to begin with, while yours truly spoke absolutely no Italian. But they were so helpful and willing to assist that something in me knew that we were communicating with each other on another level, the level of consciousness. And more recently, I have seen numerous opportunities open for me once I embody the awareness of that which I desire. So what is this consciousness to which I'm referring? Consciousness refers to awareness, the awareness that there is an inner presence in everyone and everything. That presence is God. And as incarnations of God, the living Spirit, it lives and breathes through us all. When we recognize this Spirit, it responds to us and reaches out to commune with the Spirit in everyone and everything we contact. My friends, spiritual awareness is important in the use of the law of life, for the law is a servant of the Spirit. In our Science of Mind textbook, our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, states, and I quote, "The Spirit is not something apart from matter, so-called, but is something working through matter, the potential possibility of what we call the highest and the lowest, is inherent in everything. They are not different things, end quote. So we may look at life from different mental depths or heights, but from whatever level we look, what we see comes back to us by an invariable law of attraction. The law of attraction, as stated in our Science of Mind textbook, begins with our thoughts. It is our thoughts that will attract to us that which we first mentally embody. Author Emmett Fox also has a book called Mental Equivalent, which we just concluded in our online classes here at the temple. And in it, he too speaks to us building a mental equivalent of the thing we desire. But back to our Science of Mind textbook. It goes on to explain that each of us is surrounded by a thought atmosphere, and it is from this that we determine that which comes into our experience. Dr. Holmes goes on to state, everyone automatically attracts to himself just what he is, and we may set it down that wherever we are, however intolerable the situation may be, we are just where we belong. There is no power in the universe but ourselves that can free us. End of that quote. This is the principle that we attract that to which our thought is attuned. In so doing, we must first mentally embody the good we seek and have it become part of our inner understanding. This consciousness of good is made manifest through our use of the law of attraction. However, the universe can only give us what we take. And since our taking is a thing of consciousness, the universe can only give us what we are aware of and are open and ready to receive. This takes me back to the Olympics. And one of my best moments was the first and third place finishes in the men's 110-meter hurdles, won by Hansel Parchment. Two things stood out for me. The first was that I heard a post-race interview with the American Grant Holloway, who was the favorite to win, and he said when Hansel Parchment won bronze back in 2012 at the Olympics, he was still in high school, and he admired him being a black man and a hurdler, which he wanted to become. Then he mentioned that through the heats and semifinals, Parchment kept saying to him, "I am coming, I am coming, I am coming." He had no idea what that meant. But if you had joined us last week or were in the sanctuary then, you would have heard practitioner Sandra Cooper share about his Instagram posting that went viral. And that is the second thing that stood out for me, and it bears repeating. Because in it, Parchment shared that he almost didn't make it to the semifinals, having gotten on the wrong bus from the Olympics Village and ended up at the Aquatic Center. If it hadn't been for the kindness of a volunteer who gave him money to take a taxi, he would not have made it in time to the warm-ups for the semifinals. So you see, in all of this, what is important about these two instances is that he had a consciousness of what it was he wanted to achieve. And that awareness allowed him to recognize that he was not in the right place. But having set the intention, I am coming, I am coming, I am coming, the indwelling presence and power guided him to the right person who could assist him to get to the athletic stadium. He was really ready to receive. And if you haven't seen this Instagram post, you should check it out. My friends, are you ready to receive? This brings us to our first tool that we can use for the purpose of bringing our consciousness to a higher level of spiritual awareness and acceptance through the use of our spiritual mind healing treatment or affirmative prayer. The phrase, "Are you ready to receive?" embodies the steps of treatment. This simple acronym is easy for us to recall this step, whether we are a beginner or seasoned practitioner in the use of affirmative prayers. And if you want to learn more about this method of prayer, do join one of our classes here at the temple. We have classes going on. Right now, there is a series in place, and we also have beginning again in September. So there you can learn how to use this method of prayer. But while we know how effective our affirmative prayers can be, unless we change our states of consciousness, we will not change our conditions. In fact, every area of our life reflects our states of consciousness. And so, if you are in a job that you like or you do not like, that is as a result of your state of consciousness. Our bodies, our bank accounts, our homes, our communities, everything that we have, do, or are being is in accord with our consciousness. It has been observed, for example, that in the matter of healing, you may find it more challenging to get a permanent healing unless you have a consciousness of health. You see, we may treat for the healing of one illness, and no sooner than we are over this, then another illness appears. But we may get over that and then on to the next. Without fully embodying a consciousness of health, you are bound to repeat the experience. The same is true if you find you have persons in your life who you do not like. And I'm sure none of us here have this problem. Emmett Fox's advice to us is that we take a 4x5 card and we write the following words on it. Like attracts like. It is our consciousness that brought them into our experience. Something for us to think about. So when we want to try to work on the outer things without a change on the inner, it can bring no permanent change. In fact, Emmett Fox shares the following story in his lecture. In the old days of cowboys and Indians in the Midwest, when movies first came to town, these were shown in the square on a huge white screen with the projector rolling. And you would have seen this if you have watched the old Western movies. In one such scene, where the villain was holding the damsel in distress by the throat as if to strangle her, a cowboy in the audience took out his pistol and fired a shot at the screen. But that didn't rescue the damsel or stop the show. It only resulted in a hole in the screen. If the cowboy really wanted to stop the movie, he should have fired at the projector. My friends, what picture are you seeing on the screen of your life that you do not like? We can change the real by changing our consciousness. This also reminds me of what our founding minister, Dr. Elmer Lumsden, always said. If our hair is messed up when we look in the mirror, it is no point in combing the reflection that we see. We must comb the hair if we want a different reflection. This brings us to some of the other tools we can use in helping to change our consciousness and rise above our challenges. And one other such tool is affirmations. We can repeat some positive affirmation when we find ourselves face to face with any negative situations. And here are a few examples. And I'll say them once, and right where you are online, tuned in, you can repeat after me. So here goes. God in me is my sufficiency. I am surrounded by the presence of God, and all is well in my world. So let me repeat. God in me is my sufficiency. I am surrounded by the presence of God, and all is well in my world. And indeed, so it is. Next, we should do our daily spiritual practice of meditation and quiet contemplation. It also helps to bring about a change in our consciousness. And if you do not know how to meditate, please call the office for an appointment to learn how to do so. And then you can also do some reading of the Bible or any other inspirational literature or books that we have available to us. Yes, daily reading of the Bible also helps us with changing our consciousness as we learn the truths of life, which sets us free. And one such truth is found in John chapter 1 and verses 1 to 2. In the King James Version, we read, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." End of that reading. Another great creative word that we encountered in the Bible is in Deuteronomy, when Moses was being given the commandments, and that is the I am. It is the name of God. It is the key to life, and it is with us all the time. And friends, it is the great secret which one can unlock when we know the power of the I am. Dr. Holmes, in an article in the Science of Mind magazine of June 2021, titled "The Power of the I Am Presence," states, and I quote, "The I Am is a universal spirit responding to us, the breath of our breath, the identity of our person, the integrity of our own soul, the immortality of our spirits," end quote. Whatever follows our I am determines what the universe will bestow upon us. We must be mindful, therefore, of how we use our I am consciousness and our I am statements, as we are writing blank checks on the universe for future use. So make sure you are writing that which will heal, uplift, inspire, prosper, and bless. Remember, no one can say I am for you. We build our consciousness with our I am statements, and no one can do it for us. Emmett Fox also points out in this lecture that many persons come to him and they say they spend several hours every morning working on building their consciousness through meditation and quiet contemplation. But he reminds us that it is not the hour that is spent that determines our consciousness, but what it is that we continue to maintain and sustain throughout our day that is in keeping with building this uplifted consciousness. So my friends, we cannot have just finished our meditation and get on the road heading to the office or wherever and in traffic, and when we get cut off by the next taxi man who drives irresponsibly, we totally lose it. Or we go into our offices and we don't want to deal with the tiresome co-workers, so we avoid them at all costs. It is for this reason that Joel Goldsmith, in his book, The Heart of Mysticism, recommends that we take frequent breaks throughout the day to go within for periods of silence and quiet communion. It is worthwhile for us to consider putting this into practice. And my friends, I'd like to invite you to start off by doing so every day this week. You see, since we're trying to work on outer things without a change on the inner will bring no permanent change, it is important for us to go into the silence periodically. And we have an opportune time to do that this week. We're at home for 3 days consecutively. My friends, as I stated earlier at the outset, but worthwhile repeating, we are always either attracting or repelling in accordance with our mental attitudes. Just as we are either identifying ourselves with lack or with abundance, with friendship or with loneliness, we cannot keep from attracting into our experience that which is in accord with our states of consciousness. The law of attraction or repulsion works automatically and will always reflect back to us that which we believe to be true about ourselves. Our life is a mirror, and its reflection bears all the forms of our own acceptance. How careful, then, we each must be in guarding our thoughts and our beliefs. It does not mean that we are not aware of what happens in the world around us, but we will go about our affairs doing things in accordance with our higher consciousness, and we will see the results of outpictured in our world as joy, peace, prosperity, love, and harmony. In closing, as I did in the beginning, I do so with a quote from Emmett Fox, "Life is consciousness." And in it, he states, "When you want to solve your problems or change your life, you can see at once that the only way to change is to change your consciousness." End quote. Here endeth the lesson, now begins the practice. Namaste.
Thank you so much, Jennifer, for that very inspiring message this morning, recognizing that God is in us, as us, and we need to make sure that our mind is attuned to whatever it is that we need and choose. And now, please help me to welcome Carol Charlton, who'll be bringing us our musical item for today.
As the deer pants for the water, so my soul longs after you. You alone are my heart's desire.
Thank you, Carol. Let's give her another round of applause. And I feel very special because, you know, Carol has done that for me, and I'm taking it as my birthday present. So thank you again, Carol. And now, friends, please join me in the prayer of Jamaica that's on screen. Together, the radiant light of God's love is now flowing through us and from us to everything and everyone it touches. The eternal light of God's love now completely fills, covers, and surrounds our island, Jamaica. The glowing intensity of the light of God's love now interpenetrates and awakens within the hearts and minds of our countrymen and women the truths of life which set free. The light of God's love is growing and glowing in intensity in the hearts and minds of mankind everywhere. Love, health, harmony, goodwill, peace, uprightness, integrity, joy, prosperity, kindness, and our oneness under God are now established, and so it is. And now please join me in our second hymn selection, This Is You, words on screen.
How marvelous, how wonderful the universal love has manifested here in you and me. I look at you and see in you the God potential there. This is the real you in reality. So let the infinite love shine through. This is you, really you. Believe God's life is the heart of you. Wait no longer to know that it's true. How marvelous, how wonderful the universal love has manifested in you and me. When happenings are negative, when everything seems wrong, remember that your attitude's the key. Deliberately then bring to mind the thoughts of harmony. It will reflect into your life, you'll see. So let the infinite love shine through. This is you, really you. Believe God's life is the heart of you. Wait no longer to know that it's true. How marvelous, how wonderful the universal love has manifested in you and me. The peace of God is natural, it nestles in our hearts, so let's discover God within our soul. This is the way to peace among the nations of the earth. Just know that God is living in our soul. So let the infinite love shine through. This is you, really you. Believe God's life is the heart of you. Wait no longer to know that it's true. How marvelous, how wonderful the universal love has manifested in you and me.
And now, friends, after that marvelous rendition of This Is You, please take your love offerings in your hands. And if you're about to hit that donate button on the screen, just please say with me the blessing. And it says, lovingly I give, joyfully I receive. Be thou fruitful, increase, and multiply. Bless, prosper, and enrich everyone whom you touch, and replenish all of my financial affairs. So be it. Thank you, Father, and so it is. And now, please join me in our closing affirmative prayer. Recognizing that one presence and power, that which brought us into being, we give thanks for this morning's celebration here at the Temple of Light Center for Spiritual Living. We know that for every person who has tuned into this service this morning, that they have allowed themselves to be a stream of consciousness through which that presence and power has operated. So I know that the words of every idea and every activity in which we participated this morning, we know that goes with us as we go through this week. We know that our experiences is determined by our awareness of that inner presence and power. And so we allow that to be our guide through every aspect of this week. I give thanks for each person tuned into this service this morning. And I simply release this word to that law of mind, giving thanks that all this is already so, and so it is. And friends, in keeping with our celebration of our independence and emancipation for the month of August, we will close with the singing of our national anthem. Thank you, friends. Please join us tomorrow morning for quiet moments in the garden at 6 a.m. with Reverend John Scott, and on Tuesday evening for our Spiritual Mind Healing Service at 6 p.m. with Reverend Michael Record. Also, we look forward to having you with us next Sunday for our Youth Sunday. That will be August 29 at 9 a.m. Do have a wonderful rest of the week.